Yesterday I asked one simple question: did West Indies let Sri Lanka off the hook? Today we have our answer. What started as a good batting position for Sri Lanka has now become something far more dangerous. A commanding position that has completely shifted the balance of this test match. This wasn't just about scoring runs. This was about breaking the spirit of a bowling attack, making them bowl longer than they wanted, forcing field changes, draining energy. And when Sri Lanka finally reached 549 for 9, they had done more than post a massive total. They had sent a message. Now the question isn't whether West Indies can bat. The question is, can they survive? So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Cricket With Fido Plus. And if you're new here, the channel, we don't just tell you what happened, we explain it. And this is cricket analysis beyond the highlights. We look at the tactical battles, the momentum shifts, and the small moments that often decides the biggest matches. So day 2 of this test wasn't about an explosive session. It was about Sri Lanka showing how exactly championship test match cricket is played. Let's get into it. So Sri Lanka didn't just bat, they built a fortress. Coming into day 2, Sri Lanka already had the advantage, 338 for 5 overnight. A platform built by Udara's magnificent 188 and Mendes' composed 84. But here's what impressed me most. They did not waste that platform. 12-10 teams dominate day 1 only to collapse the following morning. Sri Lanka refused to let that happen. The lower order understood the assignment. Every partnership mattered. Every extra 30 or 40 runs increased the pressure on West Indies. By the time the declaration came, 549 on the board wasn't just a total, it was a psychological warfare. So the real cost of long partnerships. One thing I love about Test cricket is that the scoreboard doesn't always tell the full story. Think about what happened today. West Indies spent almost 2 full days in the field. That means tired legs, tired minds, older ball, longer spell, constant concentration. This isn't only about conceding runs. It's about what those overs take away from your bowling attack. When bowlers become tired, their pace drops, their lengths change, their consistency disappears. That's exactly what Sri Lanka wanted. They didn't want it just to score 549. They made West Indies work for every single wicket. So did West Indies miss their chances? No, this is where the conversation gets interesting. Were West Indies poor? I don't think so. I think they were outplayed. That's a difference. The Josephs continued to create moments. Jaden Seals kept asking questions. Justin Greaves once again found ways to contribute. But after the opening breakthroughs on day 1, Sri Lanka simply made fewer mistakes. That's what elite test batting does. It doesn't chase the game. It lets bowlers get frustrated. And once frustration sets in, mistakes follow. So why the declaration was perfect? Some fans might ask, why declare at 549? Why not push beyond 600? Because Test cricket isn't about scoring runs or big runs or the biggest total. It's about maximizing your chances of winning. Sri Lanka understood that by declaring, they gave themselves enough time to attack a fresh West Indies batting lineup while also avoiding batting into the 3rd morning. It was a declaration made with confidence, not fear, that tells you exactly where Sri Lanka believe this match stands. The final session changed the mood. Now let's turn into West Indies. At first glance, 58 for 1 doesn't look like much, honestly, and it isn't. But context matters. They had only one job in that final session: do not lose early wickets, and partially succeeded. John Campbell remains unbeaten. He showed discipline and he left well outside the off stump. He looked prepared to fight. But the dismissal of Brandon King reminds us of the challenge ahead. West Indies still trail nearly 500 runs. That is an enormous mountain to climb. Tomorrow isn't about scoring quickly, it's about surviving. So the battle begins on day 3. Here's what I'll be watching for. Can John Campbell convert his start into something substantial? Can Kavem Hodge settle into and build a partnership? Because partnerships are now everything. Forget the scoreboard for a moment. West Indies cannot think about 549. They have to think about the next 50 runs. Then the next 30 launch before runs. Test cricket rewards teams that break impossible tasks into smaller one. If West Indies lose 2 or 3 wickets in the opening hour tomorrow, Sri Lanka will smell victory. But if Campbell and Hodge can frustrate the bowlers, the conversation changes. So John Campbell tonight, my player under the microscope, isn't the man who scored the most runs. It's John Campbell. Why? Because he's now carrying the hopes of West Indies. His unbeaten innings isn't match defining yet, but tomorrow it could become exactly that. The best test innings often begin quietly, no fireworks, no headline, just patience. The question is, can John Campbell turn this one into one of those innings? The bigger picture here, this test isn't now about more than one match. It's about character. Sri Lanka have shown why they're becoming one of the most disciplined test teams in the world cricket. West Indies now face one of the toughest examinations in the format. Not because the target is impossible, but because batting in long periods or for long periods requires something team has struggled with in recent years: consistency, decision making, and patience. My verdict is that the scoreboard says Sri Lanka led by 491 runs. My verdict says something even more important. Sri Lanka didn't win day 2 because they scored 549. They won because they controlled the pace of the match. They decided when to attack, when to defend, when to declare. Everything happened on their terms. West Indies now have one mission in mind: not to chase the game, not to play hero cricket, but to earn the right to compete again. If they can bat deep into day 3, this test match stays alive. If they don't, Sri Lanka could be looking at one of the most competitive overseas test victory in recent years. Looking ahead to day 3, tomorrow's first session is the biggest of the match so far. If West Indies survive the morning, they can give themselves a chance. If Sri Lanka strike early, they tighten their grip on this test. One session, one partnership, one momentum shift. That's what it takes. Test cricket so fascinating. What do you think? Has Sri Lanka already taken complete control of this test? Or do West Indies still have enough fight to turn this around? Let me know in your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this tactical breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you won't miss another update. After day 3, we'll have another in-depth analysis. Until next time, I'm gone.